Yes, absolutely. From when we developed this back in the late 1990s, actually we've come a very long way with this product.
Now all over the developed world, what's been the success?
Well, the fact that it's very, very simple for everybody to get their mind round. It's very modular, so whether you're wanting to irrigate really one in your backyard to 1,000 hectares, all of this is possible. We can tailor it to small areas, to large areas, to a shape of a field. All of those things are possible.
So what's the biggest one that you've done recently?
Well, probably the biggest one would be over 1,000 hectares in the United States. Certainly a mind-blowing thing to see all of those operating at once.
So basically it is a simplicity and the fact that it gives a gentle and effective amount of water.
I think the real key success to K-line is the fact that we're applying a very small amount of water over an extended period. So we're not removing the oxygen from the soil by dumping water on it once. We're putting on at a very low rate over a long period. That means that the capillaries are taking up the moisture, we're not plummeting the soil temperature, and we're really trying to get the best growth out of any pasture that is available.
Different nozzles, for the want of a better term?
Yeah, we've got a number of different selections. We have the standard NAN product, which probably the majority of systems in New Zealand would use that. We've also got the Nelson Windfighter sprinkler, which is very successful where you have relatively light breezes. The uniformity is much better. We can get a more even distribution of that water. And then it also lends it to putting pressure regulation in it so that every one of those sprinklers is putting out exactly the same volume.
I guess one of the other keys is that it's idiot-proof, with all due respect to farm workers.
Well, as I said, it's very simple, it's modular. The thing is that we can punish it and still get a really good result from it. The polyethylene is very, very tough. It's made with very thick wall sections so that's really flexible and yet still quite tough.
How's it affected by the sun?
Oh, no problems at all in the sun. You put a small amount of carbon black, that's why the product is black, and it's a very good UV protector for polyethylene materials.
And I guess the black will absorb the heat so the water's not dastardly cold when it hits the pasture either.
That's probably not a bad thing, not something that we think about, but that's not a bad idea.
Tell me about the boots, because that's sort of the trademark, isn't it? Why are the boots there?
You mean the pods?
Yes.
The pods are there to protect the sprinkler so that when we're towing it at anything up to 30 kilometres an hour, if the sprinkler goes upside down, it's still protected underneath the pod. The pod is sliding across the grass. The polyethylene's much, much harder than the grass that it's travelling over, and the sprinkler is below the top level, so it's not actually getting any concussion.
So you've now adapted it for dairy effluent?
Yes, the principle of very low application over a long period is critical when it comes to effluent disposal, because that material has a lot of nutrients and a lot of nitrogen, a lot of phosphorus, a lot of potassium. The thing is that we want that to be held in the soil and available for the pasture. So we apply the liquid portion out through the K-line. Raw dairy effluent is like applying sunscreen to your grass. So we apply the liquid, it runs off the tillers of grass, and it's held in the soil and available for the plant roots.
What adaptation do you need? Obviously you need different nozzles.
The nozzles that we're using in those are the NAN 4mm nozzle. So if we separate out the solids and the liquids, we're getting rid of the liquid portion. The solid separation is done with either a solid separator, which are mechanical devices to separate, or we're doing it with a weeping wall technology where effectively a fence either this way or this way is holding the solids back, the liquid's coming through the fence and then going into the second pond. So we're keeping all the solids out of the second pond and then distributing from there.
So people who are complaining about effluent going onto pastures actually don't have a foot to stand on.
No, I think you're probably dead right. The thing is that we are holding all of it in the soil. Research that we did in Southland in saturated soils, where not a lot of capacity for moisture in it, still applying effluent through K-line, we're getting almost no drainage out of the system into the mole and tile drains. And anecdotally, for those guys with a travelling irrigator, in fact, all of those drains are turning green after the irrigator has gone past. So a big difference in terms of the capture of those nutrients, and in fact also E. coli and viruses and a number of other things.